Hi, everyone. We are back with Dr. Shannon Gilkey, the Higher Education Commissioner here in Rhode Island. Nice to see you.
Good to see you today. Happy to be here.
So this week, some big news going across the governor's desk. We are learning that anyone, regardless of immigration status, will be able to have in-state tuition. Right off the bat, tell me about the impact of this.
Well, I'll tell you, Ashley, it's a very exciting week, but here's the facts. A child from a low-income family in America who has high test scores has a 31% chance of graduating from a four-year college. However, a child with a high-income family with low test scores has a 71% chance of graduating from a four-year college. That's the equity gap that we need to deal with in higher education and as a society. The bill that was passed today, that'll pass this week, and I really want to congratulate Senator Cano and Representative Diaz for their hard work, is a foundational step forward for our state to help close that equity gap. That's what's at stake here today.
And I know that right now, especially, I know we're talking about in Providence public schools and going into different colleges, there is a lot of remedial education. And we know that, we want students to be successful off the bat. And so you're saying with that 30% rate that no matter what, just because of their background, that, there is a less of a chance of them graduating.
We know college preparation is a big barrier in this state with, sometimes close to half of the students not being prepared for a college credit bearing course. The bill that was passed this week allows those from undocumented backgrounds, our high school students, our children that we're already educating, to have that affordability with that tuition. But we also have to work on that college preparation to make sure that folks are ready to succeed when they get to higher education. And we're very grateful of our relationship with the Department of Education to jointly address those gaps.
So how is your office and the state in general working to make sure that, this is all possible? These students get this in-state tuition, a much smaller rate than out of state, of course, and also, dealing with the issues that are lingering from the pandemic, enrollment being down, tuition increases.
Yeah, our primary goal from our office is to do two things: to close equity gaps, which is why I mentioned that statistic, to really shorten and close the access for living wage jobs. And we know that runs through higher education, and to also make sure that we have a talent pool for our labor, to make sure that that our employers have the talent pipeline, the knowledge and skills in their employees. This is how our office is looking at this. And that's why we have an attainment goal that 70% of our state needs to have some form of credential. This is one of our foundation steps. I'll tell you, Ashley, the legislature should be pretty proud of itself this year. We did two things that are significant. We had the Rhode Island Promise bill that was signed that allows Rhode Islanders to have access to the first 2 years of their higher education experience. And we had this bill that allows, those two are going to work together to allow Rhode Islanders to get the education that they need and to really participate in the economy that we need them to.
And just going on to just some general catch-ups for the year. I know we did a lot of our conversations in the summer. I know that this year, of course, there was a vaccine mandate. I saw some data saying that a lot of students are compliant, whether that just be getting their exemption in or actually getting fully vaccinated. What have your conversations been like with college presidents about how the school year is going?
Absolutely. Well, our state is leading the country in the policies that it has set for its students, for its faculty, and its staff when it comes to vaccination policies. We know that the policies and mandates work when it comes to getting keeping folks safe. And right now, no news is good news. We haven't had any substantial outbreaks. I think a part of that evidence that the policies are working is because our campuses are open. Higher ed is open. We've got Rhode Islanders, coming back at all of our 11 institutions, and people from out of state. Rhode Island brings in about 75,000 individuals every year to its institutions of higher ed. We are a destination state for higher ed. Those policies are going to keep our state safe and keep those students that are going to come here safe on campus. So the no news is good news. We're moving along.
Yeah, that being said, what can folks look forward to this year? What's going on in the world of higher education? I know that the conversation last year was, what will happen with the student loan forgiveness? And I know a lot of that is paused and whatnot. We're not sure, but anything happening locally of interest in the higher education world?
Absolutely. Well, what we've seen recently, and we're very excited to see a new one released this week from the Rhode Island Foundation, is the state leadership really pushing forward investment into post-secondary education and coupling it with workforce and equity, which is our agenda at the commissioner's office. The Rhode Island Foundation released its plan on how we should invest this $1.1 billion of federal stimulus, this once in a generation, and also one-time investment of resources. And they've put education and workforce, which are hand in glove, as we just talked about, as a primary pillar. The governor's Rhode Island 2030 plan did the same thing. It really pushed forward a theme of post-secondary education and the workforce and equity. And so that locally is very exciting for us to see, because it means that our state is valuing its people, and it's wanting to invest in that infrastructure, the people infrastructure that's going to push our state forward.
One thing I wanted to touch on was adult education and opportunities and people going back to college. I know we've spoken about that before, but I think now more than ever, it's so important to talk about, let people know that this is a real possibility for you. What affordability aspects are there for people that think, I don't even want to think about that. I have enough, I need to save my money.
Absolutely. So, and adults are a key ingredient for our strategy to get most, if not all, of our Rhode Islanders a credential. There are scholarships at the Community College of Rhode Island right now that we're using, that have used some governor's emergency resources to provide that tuition benefit. We also have a Rhode Island Reconnect program that does what we call wraparound services, that allows funds for transportation, for computers, things that might be other childcare, that might be other barriers. The pandemic had a tremendous effect on individuals that did not have a post-secondary credential, particularly women. And so those adults out there that may have extra needs, we have resources. It's a really great time to go back to college and go to higher ed to get that credential of value, because there's so many resources for Rhode Islanders to go back there, and a lot of interest in investing in adults.
All right. Well, I will give you the final word, final message to anyone as we end this conversation mid-October into another semester of a less than normal year. But like you said, no news is good news, and we're getting by.
We're getting by, and I think the final word would be, this is a pivotal year for Rhode Island when it comes to thinking about putting our state on a foundational step to really build back better. I'll steal that phrase for this morning. And I'm just really excited that our state leaders as well, and I want to tell the public, are really considering their educational needs as part of that investment. And so that's the final word.